All right, so you can see that I have my app built from MIT App Inventor over on the left side of my screen. And then I'm going to go to Flipgrid and make sure that I use my Google account so that it attaches it to my name. And then I'm going to click this record a response question. Now, before I start, you can see my face, but I'm going to go down to options and then record screen. And then I'm going to click start screen recording. Now, before I do this, it might be good to look at the rubric and think about what I'm going to do for my presentation. So it says that I need to present what the app does, how it works, how I use procedures, how I use lists, and then how I use a third principle. And that third principle needs to come from this list. So I need to either talk about variables, conditionals, lists, procedures, or the tiny database or API. And I think I will probably talk about the API. So it's going to be procedures, lists, and API. So now that I have a plan, I'm going to start my screen recording, and I'm going to click to share my entire screen. And that's because I've got this little picture-in-picture down here, which will then show up on my final product. Whereas if I click application window and choose the app like this, that will only capture what my app is doing, which makes it maybe a little bit harder to follow. So I'm going to share my screen with Flipgrid. And now it says it's capturing my screen. So I can talk here about my app. This is a Pokemon Guess app, and when the user clicks the start button, what happens is they get 4 Pokemon that are generated, and then a number at the bottom that says, this one is number 68. So I'm trying to look for which of these Pokemon is numbered Pokemon 68, and I'm going to choose Cubone here, which was incorrect, so I got 0 points. If I click start again, I'll get Pokemon 29, and I actually don't know the answer here, so I'm going to cheat. And it says Pokemon 29 is Nidoran, which is the top right one. So I'm going to click the top right one, and I got it correct. And then I'll repeat the process in order to keep playing this game. So the more that I get correct, the more points I get, obviously. And then the user just keeps clicking the button at the bottom in order to progress. The way that I used procedures, so here I am at this part of the presentation. The way that I use procedures in this app is actually, I can show you on MIT App Inventor here. I made this procedure called check, which runs through and checks to see if I clicked the right Pokemon. And the reason that this was a good procedure to make is because each of these images runs the same code. And so you can see that the top image runs check with a parameter of 1, and then you can see image 2 has a parameter of 2, image 3 has a parameter of 3. And so that's a really good way to use a procedure because this code is all the same. The only difference is which image I'm clicking. And so that's delivered through the image number parameter, which ultimately just gets used here. So that's how I use procedures. For lists, what I do is every time the user clicks this bottom button, it goes and gets a random correct number. So in this case, it got 125, and then it gets 3 incorrect numbers, which are just random numbers between 1 and 151, and it puts them all into a list. And that's helpful because then I can shuffle them before I put the images on the screen so that the correct image isn't always in the same spot. And then for the third principle, which is the API I want to talk about, this uses the Poke API. And so when it gets a number, what it does is it goes and requests the information from the Poke API. And some of that information included in the API is the image of the Pokemon. And so then it goes into the dictionary, it gets that image URL, and then it uses that to show the user the pictures of each Pokemon. Thank you very much for watching. And then I'm actually gonna go to Flipgrid, and I'm gonna click the red button.